Alright, welcome back to part 4. Now's the time where we get into actually smoking our ribs. So I'll show you a few things before we get started. Right now it's almost 5 a.m. in the morning. I do intend to smoke these ribs for close to 12 hours. You got to be very careful about the temperature when you do this. So I'm going to be going low and slow. I'll be cooking them for the majority of the time at a temperature of about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius if anyone overseas is watching, but we're gonna shoot for that target temperature and we'll try to keep them from drying out. If you go too high, they'll just dry out, but this is why it takes so long to get them tender and cooked and smoked. I'm not gonna be hitting them with smoke right away. I'll be adding that in a little bit. I'm gonna give them a chance to dry out a little bit, and that's how you get a good bark. And that'll be a nice little smoke ring that goes around the outside of the meat. And I'll show you that when we cut into them first off. So let me show you a couple things here. Alright, here is our seasoned meat that's been sitting in the fridge overnight. It's had about 10 hours worth of time wrapped up so that it can let all of the flavors penetrate. So I've got those ready to go out. We'll go out here and take a look at our smoker. I've already got it set up. And I set it for 13 hours, so I'm not going to go 13 hours, but I wanted to give it a chance to warm up and not kill my time too early. So you can see it's set, it's at 97 degrees currently. I've set it for 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I have the meat probe off because I'm not really worried about the internal temperature yet. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video. We have all 4 racks of ribs loaded in, and we're just going to push them in. I've got 2 racks per. I've got 2 racks of ribs per rack here in the smoker. That just gives me a little bit of room for the smoke to rise. I don't want them down too low right next to the burner if I don't have to, and I don't want them too high because the heat will radiate off the top and come down and might dry those out. So I'm going to give it a shot and just have them right in the center. And we're in. I've got it closed up. 96 degrees Fahrenheit, so we've got a little ways for that to work up. Alright, so I've got everything in the smoker. We're going to get it up to temperature and just let it do its thing for a few hours, and I'll see you again whenever we hit it with smoke. And now's the point where we're about 2.5 hours into our smoke. I'm going to add a little bit of water to that pan to keep the humidity and the moisture up in there so nothing dries out. And I'm going to be adding the wood to the smoker so that we can start generating smoke and get going with that. Alright, now we're going to put some hickory into our tray here and get the smoke going and rolling. These started off as pellets, but I just kind of let them sit outside and get a little bit of moisture in them, and it breaks down to a sawdust. That is what I prefer. We're just going to fill this tray, and then we'll hit that hot smoke function on this, and this will get the wood burning and producing a great deal of smoke. And then you just got to check it every now and again. We get it nice and full. We'll get a couple hours of smoke out of this at the very least. Now I start off doing the majority of my smoke with hickory. That's what I kind of prefer, but I always finish up with pecan whenever I'm doing ribs. I just really like the flavor that comes out of them. It kind of smells like pecan husks, and I can show you what we've got here. So this right here would be the pecan. I just picked these up at Walmart, and these are actually chips, but they smoke just fine. And now it's snack time. I'm going to have a little bit of my homemade summer sausage. This is a jalapeno and cheddar. And maybe we'll get into this coming into the fall after hunting season, and I'll make some more, and I'll show you how I do it. I thought it'd be a good time for an update. We have been rolling smoke pretty well. As you can see, if you try to look through the glass there, you can still make out the ribs, but there is a fair amount of smoke. I don't have enough contrast to really show how much smoke is blowing out of here, but we do have it pouring out of the vents, and that is exactly what we want. We've been maintaining our temperature at between 160 and 165, and we still got about 4.5 hours to go probably, maybe just a little bit less. We'll see you when they're done. Now we're in the very last hour of our smoke, and this is the point where I like to go ahead and add some barbecue sauce to my ribs, get them sauced up.
You can use any of the preferred barbecue sauces that are in your area. I'm up in Wisconsin, and around here, Sweet Baby Ray's is the king, and I really do enjoy that one. Although at some point in time, I would like to make my own barbecue sauce. Maybe that's something we'll look at in the future. I've got one of these really, really long saucing sticks here, and I'll just dip that in and get it coated. All right, we've got the first saucing done, so we'll put them back in and let them keep going.
And here's our finished product. I've got all 4 racks of ribs. I did go a little bit longer than the 12-hour mark. I went almost to 14. I think I might have needed a slightly higher temperature. 160 didn't seem to get it, but then my temperature control could be out of calibration. I'm not quite sure. And they're looking pretty good. They won't actually fall off the bone. I always pull them out premature to that so that I don't have pieces of meat and bone falling through and into my smoker. So you don't really want them to where you pick them up and they actually fall apart. You want them just firm enough where they hold together. Well, thank you very much for joining me for my very first ever YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. Please subscribe. I'm going to work on more content, and as we go along, I'll try to make sure I increase the quality as I learn. If you have any suggestions, I'm more than open to hear them. And in short, that's how I make ribs. So my wife and I are going to go enjoy our anniversary, and we're going to scarf these things down, maybe have a little drink of beer, and we're going to go to sleep fat and happy tonight. All right. Thank you for tuning in.